Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Paulio Jr., and in today's video, I wanted to discuss YouTube copyright strikes and YouTube guideline violations and how you can completely avoid them, and just to kind of shed a little bit of light on fair use and how to use it appropriately. So, I actually did briefly touch on this on the Inner Circle podcasts, on the podcast that I have every week. Shameless plug, but hey, youtube.com/The Inner Circle Podcast. So long story short, my co-host and I have been dealing with a pretty massive amount of copyright claims from pretty large companies, and even going through the appeal process, the company would reject it, and then it would have to go to YouTube, and then most of the time, actually, YouTube will appeal it, will let the whole thing go. So just some so the downsides. So we're just strictly speaking of the copyright strikes. So when you do receive a copyright strike, the company is basically saying, whether it's a bot or whether somebody is doing it manually, they're saying you have, basically, essentially illegally used our material without our consent, and so we are either going to ask for that video to be removed, or we're going to take the revenue from your entire video, which is always fantastic. So just to give you a little glimpse, so these are just some screenshots that I pulled up, that I just copied into here. So, and now we're looking at these bottom three here. So these bottom three are videos that the appeal is in progress. So if you see the one that says dispute in progress, a copyright dispute in progress, that means that we did appeal it, and that the company said no, this is ours, and you're not allowed to use it. So, and then we have to go to YouTube. So, but what they don't know is how fair use actually works. So I'm going to put a link in the description for this page, which I think is an excellent reference for everybody. Now, obviously, the main way to avoid any hassle whatsoever as far as copyright strikes go is obviously having 100% of your material, not using even 1 second from anybody else's clips, trailers, movies, music, you name it. So, where it's just 100% yours. If you do use something, it is royalty free. But that being said, you are allowed to use, clips from even big movies, even from big musicians and so forth, as long as you are following the fair use procedures. So that being said, this is an excellent reference, and where it says basically, if you are using it for commentary, criticism, parody, news reporting, research, teaching, or scholarship, you can use some as determined by 4 fair use factors. So, and now they have, now it is indented where it says, or italicized where it says some. You can actually use a really good portion of whatever clip it is, as long as you are as long as you are at least at the bare minimum commentating on it. And the best thing that you can do is actually commentate while you are playing a clip that is not yours. So, and that's what we do on the Inner Circle podcast, is we play a clip, whether it's a trailer, something like that, even if it's gameplay. So we will actually talk throughout the longevity of the clip, so we know that that we are perfectly safe. But even that being said, they will still try and claim the entire video so that they can run ads on your video. And from what was 20 seconds of a clip that was commentated on, they now can have the ability, if you do not appeal it, to monetize your entire video. So they would monetize almost roughly an hour of our entire content. They would have complete access to that and gain all of the revenue from that. So which is pretty insane. So there definitely needs to be a better be a better system in place as far as dealing with copyright issues and so forth. So, and this is why reaction channels can get away with so much, is because technically they are commentating on what is being played, even if they're not saying a whole lot, even if they're like watching the clip and there's like a little, like how you see the how I am with the webcam, that's just like where they are, and then the other portion of the screen is showing the actual clip of whatever it is they're watching. Or even people play entire albums on YouTube, but they are reacting to each individual song. So they'll actually play the entire song, and after that they will react to it, and that is perfectly fine and doesn't violate any copyright issues whatsoever. So I hope I helped cleared up at least the copyright portion of of YouTube's damaged system, unfortunately. So hopefully it'll get better in the future. We'll see. So it used to be way more lenient in the past. But so now I'm gonna move into the into violating YouTube's guidelines. So now, to be honest with you, a lot of their guidelines are very vague. So you have to use a hint of common sense on how you feel, basically how you would feel your most your most politically correct liberal friend would act. So that's the best way that I could put it. So using, if that person is using the most stringent aspect of the guidelines, all around, then you should really be careful on what you are posting. So there are obvious things like pornography and drugs and so forth that you should not be able to post. Obviously, unless it's for research and that kind of thing. But even then, you still might have an issue. Now, the problem, so here's just a quick, again. So, now this was actually, you see here, this was a video that I had put up about 3 years ago. So, I actually re-uploaded it. So 3 years ago in the fall/winter of 2016, and it only recently on October 9th was caught by was caught by a bot or somebody doing it manually. And the issue that I had was I guess was kind of copyright oriented, because in the title, I basically wanted to show how to use this program because I thought it was an excellent program at the time, and and I had forgotten about it. It had been almost 3 years, and next thing I know, I have a community guideline strike. Now, when you get a community guideline strike, that is there for 90 days. So, and if you accumulate three community guideline strikes in 90 days, in a 90-day period, then your channel is gone. Bye bye. See you later. So, if you're somebody that has a lot of videos, what I actually had to go through every single one of my videos because I had 2 strikes at the same time, and I didn't want to lose my channel. So I actually had to go back and go through every single video that I had to kind of get the feel that it was appropriate for YouTube and for everybody. If there was even anything that stood out whatsoever that could be deemed as violating a guideline, such as like where to download music or movies, where to watch this kind of stuff, anything like that whatsoever, I deleted immediately, even if they were completely legitimate sites or programs or anything like that. If you play around with the wrong keywords on YouTube, what I think that they're doing is that every once in a while, somebody basically they do like a routine check. So like, let's say like once every so often, they hit a button and it indexes, it goes through every single video on YouTube altogether, and it looks for certain keywords, it looks for combinations of keywords, and then they will send you an email saying this video is not appropriate for YouTube and you have just received a strike. You can appeal it, but guess what? We are probably going to reject your appeal. So you typically get rejected when you get a YouTube like community guideline violation. So if you have a copyright thing, a lot of times that can be resolved pretty easily. But if you violate a YouTube community guideline, that's a kind of a different story. So, deleting the video doesn't do anything. You can't edit anything. They have everything that they need. And now, this was interesting because it said the policy was harmful or dangerous content. Now, as of course, I completely disagree with that, 100%. So, but there's only so much that you can say in your appeal to YouTube, because they have to deal with thousands and thousands and thousands of these every single day. So where people just like me are probably getting frustrated and probably pretty angry about the situation that they're in, where there's a possibility that their channel is going to get deleted because of a video that they put up years ago, which is unfortunate. So in this particular case, the policy said harmful or dangerous content, which was absolutely not true. So, long story short, this was a program that allowed you to, convert videos to different formats and to be able to actually, grab music files from websites and that kind of stuff. Now, that is actually perfectly legal if you already own the content. So, and if you're just sharing, this is just for this particular one, but if you're just sharing something, you're sharing a video and saying what the program's capabilities are, then there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. Basically how people use certain things is completely up to them. You would have to get rid of so many videos because you could say that, hey, these individuals are not intelligent enough to know what is right and what is wrong. So it is not wrong, just for instance, in this particular case, to download music that you already have. You are more than allowed to do that. You already own it, as long as you're not sharing it, as long as you're not selling it, anything like that, then you are more than allowed to do that. You can download movies from the internet as long as you own the original movie. So if you just want to get, the digital copy of it or whatever it is. So, but that's just one for instance. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons. So, and when YouTube gives you, the reason why your video was taken down, it is always extremely vague. So, so this, however you pronounce it, Cura, is a question was asked on here. This is a really good reference page as far as, like it says, how much of someone's YouTube video can I use in my YouTube video. So as far as that goes, I actually years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, was making a lot of music videos. So yes, I was using people's music, and yes, I was using pieces of clips to make these music videos, and saying that all rights go to the appropriate owners and that kind of stuff. And years ago, they were fine. They were perfectly fine, just sitting there. And then, out of nowhere, it was community guideline strike, copyright strike, community guideline strike, copyright strike, community guideline strike. So this was years after I had actually uploaded them. And that actually resulted in my channel getting deleted altogether. So where I would have had 10,000 plus subscribers, now I'm, getting back up there, but I'm getting close to 5,000. So, but where I definitely would have been at close to 10,000 subscribers, I'm back down to, half of that. So, so number one, the best way to avoid any copyright claims whatsoever, is to obviously use 100% of your original work, without sharing any clips, any music, unless it's royalty free, then you are perfectly fine. So, as far as the community guidelines go, that is kind of a weird subject, because I have actually read through the guidelines and so forth, and like I said, a lot of it is very vague. Unfortunately, it's very vague. So you're gonna have to obviously use some common sense to, to make sure that your video is, is appropriate for YouTube. So, unfortunately right now, there's not a lot of competition against YouTube. So you have to come to YouTube. But I always find it interesting how there are certain podcasts and videos that are, that are up, that are that clearly violate, YouTube guidelines, and and they stay up for whatever reason. And then there's something simple that you put up, and where you didn't even mean to violate a guideline, a community guideline, and and you get a strike. So, and then you possibly get 2 strikes, and once you get 2 strikes, that's when you are that's when you have to be super careful. So what I recommend is that you actually just go through all of your videos, look at the titles, and the descriptions really quick. At least look at the titles of your videos and see how you feel while you're reading the titles. If this is something that YouTube would have an issue with, and if they do, even if it has a ton of views, it's really, unfortunately, it's not worth keeping. So it's definitely more Unfortunately, it's more reasonable to actually take those videos completely down, so to delete them off of YouTube, just in case, because down the line, eventually, if there is an issue with, with your video that is violating guidelines, they will get it. On even if you don't agree with it. Even if it's just a very small portion of your video that might violate, some really weird guidelines. So, but I think that's all I really have. This was something that I really wanted to share because it's unfortunate when, especially smaller YouTube channels, and when I say a small YouTube channel, I mean like anybody under 10,000 subscribers. So if not anybody under 20,000 subscribers, I would consider a relatively small YouTube channel. And where they just get blitzed with copyright notices and and with guideline violations and that kind of thing. So it's really, it's unfortunate to see people putting in so much work, and then the next day their channel's gone. The channel's completely gone, and then they have to start from scratch. Unfortunately, and that can be a real pain in the neck. So obviously there needs to be a better system in place. It's my opinion that YouTube is just more. I think there's two things that are going on. And one, I think that YouTube is extremely politically correct in a lot of their endeavors. And two, I really feel like YouTube is way more concerned about how the advertisers feel than how their creators feel altogether. So, of course, like, you can use foul language and that kind of thing. That's absolutely fine. But if you go into any like touchy subjects, anything that might be like a little bit taboo, you might run into some issues, and where you're going to have to wait it out with your copyright. With your community guideline violation or copyright strike. So these are things that you do not want on your channel. And just to end here, so if you do receive 2 community guideline strikes, once you receive that second one, for 2 weeks, so for 14 days, you are not allowed to upload, you are not allowed to post. You really can't do anything until those 2 weeks are up, and besides maybe go through and edit a couple of videos or delete videos and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to reiterate one more time, you really should go through your videos and double check and make sure that they are, that you feel like they are suitable, but use a more stringent tone when you're going through it. Like I said, look at it as if like I said, you have a friend that is extremely extremely PC and extremely sensitive and 100% plays by the rule book. So but yeah, that's all I have for today. So I just want to help people avoid getting these community guideline strikes and getting these copyright strikes as well. So like I said, the copyright strikes are easier to appeal, as long as you follow the appropriate procedures of using fair use. But the guidelines, violating a guideline is a little bit more, it's more open-ended as far as they can use an extensive amount of things to to go, to go against you, So, but some of it's automated, and some of it's actually manual. You can have a random person just report you, and it's unfortunate. It's sad because people, people will rely on this income, and there really isn't, unless you're like a really good streamer and you can do it on Twitch and so forth. You're kind of stuck with YouTube. So I love YouTube. I love the capabilities of YouTube, but I don't like what they've done over the last couple of years as far as how they've treated their a lot of their creators and so forth. So, but with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Today is October 24th, 2019, and just to let everybody know, I do have a podcast. I already said it. It's called The Inner Circle Podcast. It is located at youtube.com/The Inner Circle Podcast. I am also at the moment having a $100 Amazon gift card giveaway, and on my podcast channel I am also having a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway as well. So always look out for the giveaways. Stay subscribed to my channel and to my podcast channel, because even if you don't like any of the videos that I do, I will do giveaways from time to time, and actually a lot more frequent than you think. So, but that is all. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Later.